Welcome to SmartBug Smart Take with the Ecosystem video series, where we dive into new features and enhancements being rolled out by HubSpot's partners. My name is Nikki Kamau. I am the marketing director here at SmartBug Media. I'm responsible for knowing the latest trends and strategies in digital marketing and sharing them with you. So today we're here to talk about decoding the B2B buying journey with insights both from us and with our friends at Chili Piper. We'll be unraveling the intricacies of B2B buying process, drawing from a wealth of data gathered from around 100 B2B SaaS companies. We shine light on how businesses can prioritize and optimize their inbound buying experience. With expert insights from both SmartBug and Chili Piper, we navigate through the critical stages of the buying journey, from identifying business needs to researching potential solutions, and finally, making informed purchase decisions. So some of our speakers that we have today, there's two of them, are the smartest people that I know in the marketing industry. We have Caleb over here from SmartBug Media.
Yeah, hi, Caleb Malik. I have been with SmartBug Media for a number of years as a seller, as a sales leader for a period, and now work on revenue strategy and enablement, mostly working with our sales team. So a little bit of my background, super excited to talk about the B2B buying experience and some of the awesome insights that came from this study.
I love it. I can't wait to hear everything that you have to say. I know all of the knowledge that you've gained from working with so many different clients, leads, every kind of piece of it. And so you've got a lot of information there to offer us. And we also have Arthur with us here from Chili Piper. Arthur, love to hear more about you too.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Arthur Castillo here. I have a very interesting title here at Chili Piper. It's Head of Dark Social and Evangelism. Actually started on the sales side, similar to Caleb, was an AE at Chili Piper. And for whatever reason, my marketing team saw something in me, started the field marketing department here and took a little bit of that into this role now of how we're trying to create these dark social moments for our customers and our prospects. And yeah, something I've been super passionate about, trying to evangelize this problem of, hey, can we modernize the B2B buying journey and make it better for the customers? I think a lot of the time it's very focused on getting them through our own sales process. But I think that's, as we'll dive in here a bit, I think there's a time for a change, and it might be now.
I'd love to hear it. And the dark social aspect of your title, I'm just like, oh, there's so many things that I want to pick your brain about as we kind of, all fall into our own data traps. But anyways, I won't dive into that right now. So we're going to be talking about B2B buying, and I understand there's a qualitative study about B2B buyers' experiences. And I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, of course. So it actually started with a conversation with Natalie, their head of marketing, their only marketer actually at Decoding. And we've always been aligned on this mission of like, how do we create a better buying experience for the market? And she had actually just gone through this study where they interviewed 30 people, B2B buyers that are actively purchasing software, and trying to get them to understand like, hey, what is it that B2B buyers want in today's buying experience? And they came up with 3 themes after they interviewed these 30 people. The first was, how easy is it to schedule a meeting or book a next step, right? If I'm interested in this, the time from interest to the time I actually get to speaking with someone, how easy did that company make it for me? Number 2, and this is becoming more and more common, I'm seeing it with the rise of PLG companies and buyers wanting to touch and feel the product before they actually speak to sales, is that website giving me a chance to interact with that product before I have to speak to sales? And lastly, I think everybody needs to know this before a purchase, but are they showing pricing on the website? I know it's been a little bit of a hot topic still. Some SaaS companies think, hey, we have to show them value before pricing. Others are taking the step. I know Chili Piper, we're very transparent. You can see all our pricing there. We also don't offer discounts. That's a whole nother thing. But those were really the 3 main themes that came from this qualitative study that Decoding did, of buyers want to make it easy to schedule, to get access to the product before speaking with the sales team. And can I get at least a range or see some pricing before I engage in the sales process?
Yeah, I hear all of that. So knowing that and knowing, that maybe there are some some people that can't really show that pricing on their site, or there are differences that have to happen there. How does this affect the buyer's journey?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because when you look at what the people are asking for, these are things that they literally need in their own internal buying process to make the purchase. So in some ways, we got to think, are we almost creating more friction? Are we gating our own buyers from moving through the process quickly? Because again, it's some outdated sales model where we have to show value before we actually show the product. I know when we look at maybe the first point there of how easy it is for companies to schedule, I think this is one of the things that we see internally at Chili Piper, where often prospects come into our funnel and say, hey, say out of 100 demo requests that we're receiving, we're only seeing 30 to 40% of those make it to a conversation with an AE. And said in another way, you're looking at it from, hey, upwards of 60% of our high intent pipeline, people raising their hand saying, hey, I want to speak to sales, are never getting a chance to. So that's where we know, hey, this stuff matters. This is what buyers want. And it's actually making you leave revenue on the table when you're when you're really trying to create this buying experience, or even making that connection for people that are interested to potentially buying your product. So that's when we thought, okay, well, Nevadic did this study. We know this is what people want in a buying experience. We hear it time and time again, and we see how it's like resulting in a lot of companies not hitting their goals. So why don't we actually take a look at the top 100 SaaS companies and see if they're actually following these buyer best practices that we saw, right? So this was a list provided by PureSignal. They have the top 100 SaaS companies. And on what we decided to do was, let's actually go in as if we were the buyer ourselves and request a demo. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, was this like a Gmail and things that people would kind of eliminate you from the get-go? We used a Chili Piper email. So we used an alias for myself. I even put my cell phone in some cases, which sometimes I did regret, but we actually have a slide here just to give you an idea of some of the companies we're talking about in terms of size. So when you think top 100 SaaS companies, what does that look like? And you can see here, on average, you're looking at about 5,000 employees. So these are very large companies. You have to think maybe they have their operations set up, their massive sales teams, very large organization making millions, if not billions of dollars. And what we really did was, like I said, use an actual business email, submitted a lead, and we're looking at a couple of things. So one, we're looking at, do they show pricing on the website? Two, do they have an interactive demo, right? Is there somewhere, and we kind of took out videos. I know a lot of companies have product videos, but I think people either skip through or they don't really know what it means to them. So we're looking specifically for an interactive demo. Then we're looking again as how quickly or how easily it was in order for us to actually schedule a demo or look at that next call. So actually seeing, do people have direct calendar scheduling? Was it still the classic, hey, thanks for submitting a form. Somebody will be in touch with you within 24 hours. And another thing we measured is, one, how long it took to get a human response, not that automated 24-hour response, but how long it took to get a human response. And is it always being routed to an SDR? Or are there some cases where companies are actually bypassing that qualification? We hear it time and time again. Buyers are more educated than they ever have been. They're more qualified than they have been. But often the first brand touch point is with a junior sales rep that can't necessarily discuss pricing, show them the product, answer any questions that the buyer might have. So those were all of the things we looked to focus on when we started, really diving into these top 100 SaaS companies and understanding, are they following these practices that we know buyers want? And the numbers were pretty interesting, in some cases shocking to say the least. I don't know if we're going to dive right into them right here, but we do have a little bit of a summary around what exactly we kind of saw when we started going through this process. So when it came to pricing, depending on how you want to look at glass half full or half empty, 57% of companies did have a pricing page. Now we'll get into it here in just a sec on whether they actually showed pricing on that page. This was, I was speaking with Nevada because obviously they're very good at doing interactive demos. And it was nice to see that 17% of companies offered this. But obviously still very novel, not widely adopted. And this is something we're hearing that buyers want time and time again. This one surprised me because I don't know how long direct calendar scheduling has been out there, but we really only came across 11% of companies out of those top 100 SaaS companies that offered as like basically capture that intent as soon as I filled out the form. They could qualify me there right on the spot and say, hey, this is somebody that's potentially interested in buying our product. Let's get them in. But only 11% of companies did that. For the rest, they did follow a lot of that status quo. Hey, automated email, somebody be in touch with you. And a little unfortunate to see that it's still taking quite a long time for I guess, a high intent prospect to get a human touch. It took 2 days on average. And we'll get into some other findings where quite a bit of companies actually never even responded to us. So it always kind of makes me laugh or maybe even cry in some cases where everybody's talking about doing more with less. And then we did this study about, I don't know, 3-4 months ago, and people are still taking their sweet time and saying, hey, I know you're interested in our product, but we'll get back to you when we want to. So that's just a little bit of a high level overview of some of the findings we saw from this report. But yeah, I'm excited to dive into the rest of these areas here.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm really excited to hear what you have to say about the I know that you kind of hinted at there are 57 companies with pricing pages, but not all of them had pricing on them. So yeah, interested to see where that goes on if there were percentages that were found or just trends in general.
Yeah, so the good old 80-20 rule remains consistent here as well. So of those 57% of companies that had pricing pages, just under 80% had at least a range of pricing. Those other 21% of companies were trying the good old bait and switch of, you're on our pricing page, fill out a form or contact sales to learn more. So on one end, you're like, okay, this is good that companies are starting to go this route. Before, it was almost like blasphemous or like any sales leader would be like, are you crazy? Do not have our pricing up there. I don't want to reveal pricing before I speak with anybody. But I think in a way we're seeing some positive indicators here. Yeah, Caleb, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think it's just like the granddaddy of pricing sins, to have the pricing page listed and then not actually have pricing on it. It's like anybody who clicks on that, they're thinking, well, this is, that's what I'm looking for, right? That's what I need, right? Think about it from like a UX perspective. It's like that's, they have what I need there. And then you arrive and it's not what you need and you feel misled. And so now you're doubly annoyed because you're like, well, you don't have your pricing listed, which I wanted. We know that buyers want that. That's what the study shows. But you also are saying we have it and then not showing it to me, and you want me to fill out a form, and it's just feels very kind of misleading. So that to me is kind of shocking. That's still as common of a practice as it is. But yeah, list the pricing, man. Like it's just, I think it's so important for everybody, right? At the end of the day, yeah, you want to show value, but I can show you all the value in the world, but if your budget's $1,000 and our solution costs 10,000, you're probably not going to have the ability to 10x your budget for what you're trying to do, right? We're just not a fit. You might need something that's less comprehensive, something that's more of a point solution. You're just going to need something different, right? And we're not going to be a good fit, and that's okay. So I think it's really important to have it up there and show it. It saves your company time, it saves the buyer time, and they get on the call to ask the question possibly and say, well, talk to me about your pricing because you didn't have it listed because you sent me to a pricing page that had a form. And then, well, let me do some discovery first, and you're 45 minutes in, you're the buyer and you're like, I have no idea if any of this is worth my time, right? As if everybody has a bunch of time to do that stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting to me because to me, I think really when you get into like a really good sales rep, I think they're qualifying out as much as like trying to qualify in. And it's just funny that we don't take that same approach right at the top of the funnel, right? Like if part of the reason we don't want to send over leads to sales is not to waste their time, talk about what you just said. If they know something is within their price point, and sure, there's a whole platform that has all the bells and whistles, but maybe I can only afford a point solution. Like, what better way to waste your sales rep time than say I have a budget of 10,000 and you realize, 45 minutes in, it's like, okay, are you ready to see the product? It costs 100,000. You're like, whoa, no, that's way out of my budget. So
yeah. And I've had that experience where it's like, oh, that's cool. And it wasn't a software, but I thought we might be able to get a speaker for our sales kickoff, and got on the call and talked, and it was like, $15,000 an hour. And I was like, never done this before. I have no idea how much these folks cost. I'm not mad about it, but we spent a bunch of time on discovery, and it was good discovery. Actually, they ran a real good disco call, but at the end of the day, I can't go make a case for, $15,000 an hour for somebody to do a virtual speech. Right. So kind of have had that experience. I think on the software front, there was a comment made, I think it was, you made it early in a call of, if you can't show it, I would really challenge folks to try to make that argument, like, as to why they can't. What is physically stopping you from being able to do that? And I think, the counter argument, I think a lot of times it's, well, it's so complex, right? There's so many different features, and there's so many different things that HubSpot has a really complex product, right? And so if you go to their pricing page, they got a bunch of different hubs, they got different tiers for each of the hubs, prices change based on contacts and all that stuff. They have basically a massive calculator that you can enter, here's how many contacts I have, here's the hubs I'm looking at, here's how many seats I need. Now, at the end of the day, it's not the final price they're going to get, but at least they can look at it and say, well, it's in the ballpark of whatever. And so now I kind of know that, this is a fit for me, or it's not. And I know what I'm getting myself into when we have this first conversation.
I think you hit the nail on the head there when we're thinking about, okay, what might best practices look like in this? Just give a range. You can even say this tier's starting at, right? Starting at 5K. Oh, our enterprise tier starting at 20K. Just help me understand where, that ballpark range is, so I can start to think, okay, that's like within line. And like, again, people are going to find this whether you like it or not. They might ask their peers, they might ask communities. There's websites up there that even give that range. So why are you making it hard? Why are you getting them to do additional steps to, again, engage and interact and hopefully buy from your company? I think, it's very interesting that I like that we're coming a long way, but obviously, like, 57% of these companies are still not showing it. And like the 20% of those that do have a pricing page aren't even showing pricing. So I think it's a step in the right direction, but still a lot that we can do on that front.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point of, kind of people going to their network, or this thing called the internet. I don't know if everybody's heard of it, but like, you can find a lot of answers on there. And so I think, as the dark social guy, I think there's something to be said there about, you've got communities like Pavilion, right? If I want to know, how much does this cost, and you don't want to say it, and I don't want to deal with the rigmarole of a bunch of discovery to find out I can't afford it, I might just go in there and say, like, hey, and actually, if I'm a good community member, I'll do a search first, search Chili Piper, and here's somebody asked about pricing, right? And I might go off of a post from last year and say, it's probably too expensive. For all I know, your pricing has changed, and I've just kind of disqualified you as an option because I went and found an answer from a year ago, right? Or I might ask the community and say, hey, what do y'all know about the pricing today? Who's bought recently? That sort of thing, right? So, people are going to get the answer. They can find the answer if they want to do the digging. People have their professional networks. They have their friends who work in similar roles and use similar products. You're not really hiding anything. You're handing the narrative over to other people to kind of talk about the pricing and whether it's worth it and what the value is. And it may not always be accurate.
Yeah, such a great point.
Yeah, so I totally agree with that. Again, that dark social, just like you said, I'm in those groups. I see the questions come through as a director of marketing. I've been the person that's in there that's also looking for those answers. So that 100% resonates with me as well. I know that, one of the things that we were talking about, or that you two were talking about, were really being able to kind of show the value, provide that value. I'd love to hear what you all have to say about the benefits of interactive product demos versus just, live on a site kind of video walkthrough, that kind of thing.
Yeah, this is the timing of this is almost too perfect. So we're actually evaluating this right now. We've had product videos before, and not to say they weren't a useful resource, but I think there's some limitations. And I know, going back to our partner for the study, Nevadic, they have had case studies where they're actually showing a 450% increase in engagement around around interactive demos compared to product videos. So I think it just puts the buyer in the seat, right? It allows them to like touch and feel. It's just a different experience, and it's still so novel right now. I do think 2-3 years time, like everybody's going to have a product, interactive product demo. So it's, to me, it has so many different use cases too. It's like you can send somebody a 5-minute product video in a sales follow-up, but are they really going to watch it? But I think if you said, hey, this one's specifically for a RevOps persona. So I know your RevOps person didn't get a chance to make it to the call. This is a specific walkthrough for them, the things that they care about, and they can actually click through and see how it integrates with your tech stack. Talk about some like a personalized resource for a specific buyer. And I think that that's the type of difference where videos are kind of table stakes right now, but how do you take that buyer a little bit further? How do you put them in that little buyer seat thinking, oh, okay, yeah, I can see how this would work with my tech stack, or, oh, very interesting. I know how we use this, how we do this job today is very manual. That was like 2 clicks. Man, that would save me a lot of time. So I think it's just putting them a little bit more in the seat. Not to mention like the analytics that you get coming from this. You don't really get that from a video, where you can actually identify which accounts are interacting and even route those leads to a sales team and say, hey, these are people that are coming back to our demo or clicking through or getting all the way through. So they know what it is. Let's have a better understanding of whether or not they see how it works within their company and maybe offer them a demo. So I think it just, it's going to be very, very much status quo in a couple of years. I think it's still novel today, but it's a huge benefit over something like just a product video.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like first mover advantage right now, right? You just said, 17.2%, right? That's the day that we have, 17.2% are doing this right now. As a buyer, being able to see your product and experience it and get my hands on it, it's like test driving the car, right? I want to be able to do that, and to be able to do that early. And like, it even helps with, because I went and played around with some of these as I was reading the data. It helps you conceptualize, the problems it's going to help you solve. It might help you realize problems that it's going to help you solve that you didn't really think about or hadn't realized, or maybe didn't realize you needed a solution to, but it's like, oh yeah, this is going to help me with this. So I think it's the people who are going to get this done now are going to have the advantage. And it gets you beyond the, so many websites, our UX is, intuitive, it's like, well, then show me, show me how it's intuitive. Let me experience it. And I was really just doing like level 1 thinking. Something you said there, Arthur, that I think is really freaking cool is like, you can take this and say, I'm going to customize it for this persona and for their use case. And I'm going to, give it to you so that you can do like, I'm going to empower my champion to do some internal selling, right? If they can't get that individual to join a call or join a demo, right? Because you can't always. And so I think that that's a really powerful use case, or it could be based on industry, right? Like this industry is going to use it a little bit different than this industry. So, if somebody goes to that page on the website, they're going to get a different interactive experience versus the person in a different industry that goes to a different page, right? So you start to be able to really customize these. It's like, it's giving customized demos at scale and early so that people can get excited about the product and what it can do for them.
And I think like this is, as you'll see here in this graphic of like the types of industries. One, I think this also helps with this rise of PLG and companies wanting to maybe do that, but can't necessarily offer it. And that's where I think we see a lot of security companies in that specific vertical really have a lot of these because they can't. I think I've never sold to security, so I'm speaking just from what I've heard, but they can't necessarily offer free product tiers or something like that. So again, how do you meet your buyer where they're at? And sure, they'd want a free trial or maybe a freemium product, but if you can't offer that, this is a great next step of saying, this is what our product looks like. Play around with it. Imagine yourself, if this is what you're logging into every day, does it help you get the jobs to be done? So yeah, this was just a quick breakdown of the types of industries and the industries that we saw use interactive demos the most in this B2B buyer's best practice.
Yeah, one of the things that came to mind for me as another kind of like use case or way to even add more fuel to the fire is, we have a partner, Qualifico, who has a chat function that essentially enables you to say, I know this person's on this page at this time. It's a bit of a like proactive live chat as a way to think about it. So we know we've sent them an email, we're doing outbound to them. They're going to come to the page. Hey, I know they're now on the interactive demo. So, you have the option to embed, send them to a different landing page, that sort of thing. So if you have the embed, this could pop up. Or I was talking with the founder at Warmly last week. They have a video function that's like, hey, I'm waving at you. Because when I go through some of these, it's like, it may be a little bit short, it may be a little bit limited, and it's like, oh, cool, but like I noticed that other feature and it's maybe isn't part of this guided demo. So like I do want to ask questions, and now here I've got a sales rep that's waving at me on a video that's, hey, hop on with me now if you have any other questions or ways I can help. And all of a sudden, you're in the middle of a sales conversation. So I think you could combine that with some other solutions that are out there to be able to really accelerate the conversion of traffic to a deal.
Yeah, that's super interesting. And it's interesting because it almost crosses that line into like customer experience in a way of, you're kind of, you've got the journey that you're taking, you're bringing them along, you're keeping them warm, you're talking to them, and then that allows that, like you said, the proactive communication as opposed to the reactive. And so much of that buyer's journey and what those people want is they just need answers immediately. They want that communication, that response immediately. And I'd love to hear what you all have to say when you take it into that next set in the life cycle stage of that impact of response times on customer experience and, strategies around improving that and really being there and proactive and communicating as quickly as possible to allow these individuals to get the answers that they need when they want them.
Yeah. So you're seeing a graphic here. This is the breakdown of all 100 companies, 44% within a day, which is good. I know probably the gold standard some of you have already heard is, hey, let's get back to them within 5 minutes. Very tough to achieve that. Again, 16% ended up in that 2 to 5 days. A lot of the time I even took some of these calls like months after people following up with me and kind of playing a little bit of a devil's advocate and saying, hey, I don't even remember what I signed up for. And I don't even know if they did either. And it's just like, okay, well, just thanks. I just wanted to give you a call. The one that really worried me the most is like the 35% no response. And we tried to understand like, okay, maybe they were qualifying me out, but it's just, we really didn't we kind of ran this for at least, I think, 3 weeks to see, are people going to end up responding to us? And they still landed in that no response bucket. A simple email of like, hey, you kind of fit outside of our main use case or our main ICP. What problem are you looking to solve? Why do you think we can help you solve it, type of thing? That would have put them into other buckets, but 35% of companies decided, hey, not even worth our time. Going back to your question, Nikki, I think it is very important. Obviously, the quicker you can respond to a customer, it just shows a perception of like, you have your operations in order, right? If somebody's taken 6+ days to get back to me, and let's say I've already gone through 2 calls with another company, there's no way I'm starting from scratch again and saying, hey, this company might be the company for me. I've already kind of put them in this idea of whether or not they're a good fit for us. What's interesting, and I know we're showing here, what we also looked at is average number of follow-ups, right? For a demo request. Most people, after 3 emails said, okay, that's enough. I'm not going to reach out. But quite a few just sent 1 or 2 emails, which again, for whatever reason, maybe I'm busy, maybe my priorities changed, but there was a reason as to why I had reached out in the first place. So don't be so quick to give up. When it comes to what does this mean, part of me thinks like, I wonder if we're optimizing for the wrong metric. And it comes down to, I guess we'll get into this later down the line, but like, what does that first brand touch look like? And in B2B, you pretty much, unless you're a 100% PLG company, which we already know 96% of PLG companies have a sales team, unless, you're able to like just let them put in a credit card, a meeting has to happen in order for that sale to take place. So why are we saying, hey, cool, we got we got in touch with them within 5 minutes, when you still have to book the meeting. They still need to ask their questions and see the product and all of that, discuss pricing, in order for a sale to happen. So I don't know if a lot of companies are looking at it this way of like, typically when I hear SLAs, it's, hey, let's get back to them within 5 minutes. Let's get back to them within 20 minutes. Let's get back to them at least within 24 hours, which I think is a good idea. But again, if the sales centers around the meeting, how quickly are we getting that meeting booked? And we know buyers are having a ton of priorities, a ton of different things that are occupying their mind. So you really do need to strike while the iron is hot. Otherwise, yeah, you could have missed your opportunity. Maybe they went to your competition. Yeah, a lot of different things. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, Caleb.
Yeah. Well, actually, I have a question for you first. So I'm going to put it right back on you. You said
Please.
you got 3 emails was kind of the most common. And so I know it's not part of the report, but I want to know kind of anecdotally, how many people were calling you?
And this is very interesting because I'm not answering unknown calls. So let's say somebody was calling me within 2 minutes. I see an unknown call. I'm like, I'm not thinking to myself, wow, that person got back to me so quickly. I'm letting it go to voicemail. So I did have a ton of calls,
Okay, that's good. That's good.
I can't
Yeah, you got some
equate them to
voicemails.
like who's actually following up with me.
Yeah, yeah, interesting. Okay, well, that's at least a good sign that folks are trying to get in touch with you. But yeah, I don't think you're alone with if I don't know the number. In fact, for a while, I had my phone set to don't ring at all if I don't have the number in my phone book. So people have that stuff set up. But I was curious, right? Because it's just another channel to reach somebody that if you didn't get them within 3 emails, try something else, right? Try LinkedIn, try a phone call.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, I tend to agree with you. Speed to meeting is a different way of looking at it. I think quality of follow-up. I mean, it's really easy to just, okay, well, here's my template, here's my, here's my link, here's, whatever. Making it personalized. Hey, I've actually heard about your company, and my friend over at this company used y'all and said it was great. Looking forward to learning about your new initiatives. Or, hey, always been a fan. By the way, love the brand. This element of your design, or something that shows that you like took a little bit of a look at their website and you were actually already thinking about them. We do see that video in the follow-up email can be a really powerful way to kind of make sure that meeting gets set right. It personalizes you a little bit. Hey, I just want to introduce myself. I'm who you're going to be working with. Let's set a time. Let's have that conversation, right? So I think there's a lot that can be done beyond just how fast are you. Like, speed is not the only way to evaluate most things, and that applies here as well. Quality matters too. So I think one of the things that stood out to me, though, was the distribution, right? So a lot of people following up within a day. I think, if I'm the buyer, that's fine. You got back to me within a day. If it's a quality follow-up, that's great. I'm not like, my hair's not on fire. But the number of people who just never followed up, it's like, those are the 2 most common things. Either it was within a day or they didn't reach you at all.
Yep.
It's like, what are we doing here? I got money. You want money? Like, I'm trying to have a conversation with you. It's just bananas.
It's wild. It's wild.
So one of the things that you kind of mentioned on there was I believe you talked about like video kind of in that follow-up process. Did you mention that just now, or did I totally make that up?
I mentioned it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'd love to hear more about knowing what those touch points can be, and the touch points that I have received personally when I've been in these processes too. And kind of what gets me to open or to raise my hand or to, be in collaboration in lockstep with who I'm working on this deal with. And I'd love to know what you kind of see the role of follow-up processes looking like when it comes to sealing that deal.
Yeah. On one side, like, part of me thinks if we're optimizing for the meeting booked metric that we just talked about, there almost shouldn't be any follow-up. Like, give them, you can qualify on the form. You can do this through tools like Chili Piper, where you're capturing the intent right when it's there. So part of this, like, sure, there's best practices and follow-up, but I think, again, are we optimizing for the right metric? I will also mention anecdotally, a lot of these follow-ups were very entitled, which I thought was very interesting. Of like, just because I submitted a demo request and I shared my information does not give you the right to be like, hey, like, you asked for this, think more value-based, right? Hey, I saw this is your industry, or you know what, we have a couple of other customers and they really like this feature. can't wait to talk to you about it on this demo. Are you free this time? Nobody really took that approach. I'd say like 10%, maybe, if not, if less than that, where it was very like, hey, you requested a demo. Does this day work? Hey, I'm following up with you. Hey, I know you like submitted this and there was interest. Are you still interested? I'm like, what kind of follow-up process is this? Like, help, I'm going to need more pieces of information in order to make my decision. Incorporate that in your follow-up process. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Caleb?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what I was kind of getting at with the quality of follow-up, right? It's like it actually doesn't take much to show that like I actually care about you, even if we haven't even met yet, right? It sounds a little weird, like I care about you, person I haven't met on the internet, but like I actually do care about you and I want to help you and I want to give you a good buying experience. And here's some things that I've done to show that I've looked at your industry, I've looked at your company, I've looked at your role within the company. It could be, hey, like you must be reaching out because you just started, in your new role, 2 months ago. That's really exciting. Congratulations. Looking forward to chatting with you. Right. Just do a little bit of that digging. And I think what you just said there, Arthur, is like, take it to heart, salespeople, because at the end of the day, the bar is pretty low on that front. It sounds like pretty much everybody was, here's a link, here's my calendar, here's, this is on you, and you asked for it, and the entitled approach, as pervasive as you're saying your experience was, shouldn't be too hard to give a much better experience compared to the norm.
Yeah, I think the bar is very low, and it just like anything really would stand out. So yeah, I think that was a big takeaway in just receiving some of these responses of like, the bar is really low. You don't even need to do much to stand out. It could be as simple as what you're saying of like, hey, I saw you just join, or hey, a big fan of your brand, whatever it is. Like, yeah, I think that would go a long way.
Well, and I think it goes back to like, I think a lot of times there's this idea of like, we have to be super creative on, our outbound practices, and we have to always be adding value, and we have to pique interest, and we have to do, and then it's like, yeah, they asked us for a meeting, so now all that goes out the window. And it's like, no, that's part of the entire buying process, even if, it's because, in a response to an inbound request. And just, I would call it out here, right? 66% of the responses are from an SDR. I'm straight up never sold software, so I don't want to get, out of my lane here. But, if you've got somebody who came in and said, I want to talk to you about your product, I don't know how much, SDRing is required at that point, right? Like, let them talk to a more senior seller, somebody who's going to be able to still be able to do some qualification, but, and maybe disqualification, maybe even more quickly than the SDR would be able to, and, help them get the answers that they're looking for. Don't make them go through some steps. It's like, again, it's kind of the entitlement thing you were just talking about of like, well, we have to qualify you in or qualify you out before you could talk to somebody who has, the title of account executive. It's like, really, that's what you think to your customers, your potential customers anyway?
Yeah.
I love it. We're just about wrapping up here on time, but I know offline, Caleb, you were talking to me about some different expert opinions and insights that you had, and I don't think we're gonna have time to talk about it now. But if you all are watching this on YouTube, go ahead and look down in the description below. There might be some extra little tidbits there for you that you can get on some expert opinions that we're not going to cover at this moment. So, all right, let's just kind of summarize. I'd love to hear quick, like your 30-second. What do you think, if somebody were to come here at the very end of this video and they're like, all right, what was it? What was it that I wanted to learn? What was it that I can take away from this and just go implement, go think about, go strategize on? What do you have, Caleb?
Make it easy. I mean, it goes back to things like the interactive demo, the pricing, the, AE rather than sending an inbound lead to an SDR. It's like we create so many barriers and so much friction in this B2B buying experience so much of the time. And it comes from this perspective of, it comes from weird things like, well, we saw this thing in our data and we need this for the forecast and we need this thing. So we're now going to make our buyer's life more difficult. What are we doing? Right? Make their life easier, help them see the value, provide the value. And if you can't do that without being on a call and having somebody be able to explain it to them, then you have a different problem.
Yeah, I'll kind of echo very similar sentiments. To me, it's like when we did this study, I think it was very evident that so many companies are still trying to force the buyer through their own sales process versus meeting the buyer where they're at and just saying like, hey, like in some cases, there could even be like a 3 times repeat customer. Are you really going to get them to go through a qualification call with an SDR? Like I think we're penalizing buyers for actually doing their research and coming to us, educated and speaking with their peers. So again, really rethink your own sales process. Is there anything that we're forcing the customer to do that's more in our own interest than the customers? I think that's a time to really start changing your own process. And really, the bar is low. I think that's another thing that I'll harp on, of like, the bar is so low. Don't be entitled. Just go a little bit out of your way and you'll stand out so much from the crowd. You'll stand out from your competition. Just aiming to give a better experience is right now still a competitive advantage, as crazy as it sounds. And by doing that, you can, right now, I know a lot of companies are leaving money on the table, and just by focusing on that, I think you'll be surprised at how much more, revenue your entire team's going to generate.
Yep. Customer's always right, right?
Yep.
Totally agree. Make it easy for them, and that's all we can do. Well, thank you both so much. I really appreciate all of the expertise that each of you brought to this conversation. I know I've learned a lot that I get to just kind of mull over from the marketing side and figure out what I can do on that end to kind of make the process easier for all of our buyers. But yeah, just wanted to say thank you and appreciate both of you. And I hope everybody else enjoyed this conversation as well.
Thank you, Nikki. It was a blast.
Thank you so much, Nikki. This was a ton of fun.
Thanks.